Wizordum is a freshly baked slice of 90s-inspired pew-pew zap-zap from Emberheart Games, and it's published by the harbingers of real good shit, Apogee Entertainment. Let's see what it says on the packet. The ancient seal of Terra Bruma has shattered, unleashing the forces of chaos once more. As one of the last mages of Wizordum's sanctuary, you must embark on a quest to find the source of this corruption, and push the chaos back before they consume the kingdom. Sounds good to me. Now, if you wish to skip my meandering waffle and get straight to business, use the chapters to zip ahead. Otherwise, strap in. I'm about to wax lyrical. First, a disclaimer. I bought this game months ago with my own dollary dues because I wanted to. However, a nice dude from Apogee emailed me a week ago to ask if I would do a video to coincide with the game's September console release. My good sir, said I'm already ahead of you. I've been planning a Wizordum monster expedition for ages, and I've got a video in the off already, which was some good timing, I've got to say. He nodded sagely, laid a steadying hand on my trembling shoulder, and gave a benevolent smile. Blessings of House Apogee be upon you, he whispered, and he exploded into 1,000 pinpoints of light, granting me a Steam key for the game. So no, this isn't a sponsored review or anything. My opinions are my own and were formed months ago, and no gold pieces have crossed my palm, but I've got a key if anyone wants to play the game for free. I've hidden the code throughout the video, broken up into 3 pieces. See if you can snag it. First in, best dressed. Keep 'em peeled. Right, spread over 3 episodes, Wizzo is tight, lean, and beautifully crafted fun. Because of my short attention span and deafness to my own verbal diarrhea, I'll likely use the word charming a lot in this video, because that's the sweet sticky sauce that remains when this game is boiled down. Endless, wonderfully designed charm. I am charmed by Wizordum. For a game all about magic, it seems very fitting. I first caught wind of Wizzo in May this year and was like, yeah, I'll have a piece of that, so I bought it and was immediately absorbed by the game's appeal. Absorbed! Like death via gelatinous cube. The cutest pixely pixel graphics, big sweaty tick. Bold, bright colours. Hell yes, I've had enough of things being super drab, especially in the current world climate, and puzzles of the sort I'd expect to encounter in the dankest D&D session, where the DM winks roguishly at you, sporting a grin like a fox eating shit through a wire brush. That's a good thing, by the way, just to be clear. I'd originally played through half of Wizzo months ago, got buried under a pile of other games, and got round to finishing it just now. So glad I circled back. When I saw the critters, I knew I had to talk about the game's monsters. In some cases, there's not an awful lot to say about the monsters because Wizordum isn't trying to be something other than a fun, rollicking adventure. Monsters come at you, you fire your weapons, a good time is had by all. Except the monsters, who are in fact dead. That's not to say that situations aren't dangerous throughout, because they are, or playing the game gets stale, which it doesn't in my experience. If anything, the straightforward nature of the beasties makes for an exceptionally clean instead of mean bit of wizardly bang-bang. I couldn't find any monster info online, which is a bit of a shame, but it does guarantee that this video is entirely informed by my own gameplay experiences and opinions, wonky as they may be. As the game gets older and people get around to pulling stuff apart, my paltry understandings will likely age like a dead dog on a termite mound. But I care not. Making videos is fun. This game is fun. Let's have fun together. Let's stick our snouts into the village hog trough and root around. Let's dive in. The backbone of the forces of chaos, these green-skinned menaces will become a familiar sight on your adventures. Big ones, small ones, some that'll rip off your head. Thankfully, as is the nature of this game's monsters, killing them will often result in a nice stack of cash and other goodies, so blast away. There's something inescapably adorable about goblins, regardless of the game. Warcraft 2, Heroes of Might and Magic 2, cheeky little scamps, and Wizordum's gobbos are no exception. They're all chittering mouths, dancing footsies and spiky helmets. However, don't take that to mean that they're not a threat. If they corner you in sufficient numbers, the next time you see the light of day, it'll be as a string of steaming goblin turds. Show 'em no mercy. There are quite a few different varieties of goblin, and their forces are quickly bolstered by the addition of ogres and tougher, meaner fellas. Let's have a peek. The lowest of the verdant villains, Berserkers will chirp and chatter and bustle their way towards you to try and give you the good bonk with their maces. They're classic fodder enemies and will often be seen in pairs or small groups. They respond well to return serves of bonkage if you're the cleric, and the sorceress's spicy stick will send one to gobbo heaven in just a few shots. I recommend using the fire rings, as you can plop out a few hits and the fire damage will take them the rest of the way. Yummy. Lobbing a magic orb grenade into a group is highly effective, which I bound to the G key, but make sure you keep your distance because they can close in fast. Also, spraying multiple bad boys with the chain gunny weapon, the Frostweaver, will freeze them solid. Hit the alt fire to smash them to pieces before they thaw out. These early encounters show you that there's a spiraling dance to the game's combat. As forces close in, encompassing different enemy types, you'll be weapon swapping and sliding between primary and secondary fire, shuffling through your inventory, and busting out learned spells. Really solid stuff. The Berserker design, like that of all the game's critters, is tres charming. Basic ranged enemy time. These gangly sods will piff fireballs at you in a straight line, hitting you when you least expect it. Due to their tendency to be perched on higher elevations than you, they can be tricky to hit sometimes. I found that you kind of need to aim slightly over their heads so your shots will connect with them and not the ground they're standing on. The Frostweaver is especially good for this job as its ammo is plentiful, it fires fast, and you can freeze then shatter a whole bunch if you're quick. What would an old school game be if it didn't have nasty nested fireball flingin' freaks? Introducing the, kind of, pinky demons of the game. Shield ogres might be chubby, but they're relatively fleet of foot, and they'll pursue you relentlessly in their mission to chop you up into bloody firewood. I thought that, considering their name, they might use their shields to block attacks both melee and ranged, or do a charge or something, but no. At least, not from what I saw. They still look awesome though, and their chonk helps to add some beef to the initial front lines of the Chaos forces. Feed them some magic orbs to quieten their rumbling guts. These tough cookies seem to be able to rev up surrounding monsters with a bloodlust buff, making them faster. They'll give you a serious choppy chop if you're within range, and from a distance they'll call up a blue shockwave that ripples through the ground towards you. They're best taken out from afar because, though they aren't quick, they are brawny as hell, and take quite a lot of punishment, giving them ample time to give you a hiding. Boom Booms definitely made me think of Goblin Sappers from Warcraft 2, which brought a tear to my eye. These chuckling, gurgling Berks do exactly what you think. They sprint towards you carrying their lit barrels of explosives over their heads. Take it upon yourself to do what comes naturally and pop that fizzing drum. If you're lucky, you might get a chain reaction going, painting the walls with goopy goblin insides. Make sure you keep your ears pricked for their snorting burbles. Death on two legs. Precisely what it says on the tin. Blue-skinned, red-eyed gobbos with little brass spikes on their armor hailing from the chill lands of Episode 3. They'll fling out frosty blue-tinted axes with eye-watering accuracy and speed. Get your dodge game on or you're toast. I'd have thought that frosties would be pretty dang resistant to the Frostweaver, but they seem just about as susceptible to its chilling touch as anyone. Tougher gobbo broskies from late in the game, I originally thought these guys had been beefed up by a different elite ogre buff, making them red and their maces flamey, but it seems that they're just another green boy variant. In direct contrast to frost goblins, their attacks are able to engulf you in flames if they get enough hits in. Best to not let them do that. Sidestep, pew pew, splat. These jester hat-clad buggers instantly made me think of those irritating sods from Spyro the Dragon that you'd have to chase around trying to flame. Thieves, I think they're called? You know, the ones that go, na 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 na. Damn, I hate those guys. Thankfully, treasure goblins aren't nearly as fast or nimble, and your impressive arsenal of ranged attacks will bring these thieving douchebags down in no time, making them explode in a shower of pilfered gold. Shamans are the real deal. Sat astride their furry rat mounts, very much like the warlord preceding them, these lads will leap at you, doing a devastating ground pound. After they've split the dirt, a line of jagged icy spears shoot up from the earth, doing serious damage to your undercarriage. They'll also spit out nasty little ice darts like your Frostweaver, in lots of 3, trying to catch you when you strafe away from them. My advice, bury them in a hailstorm of magic while tightly circle strafing until they explode. As if I didn't get enough Warcraft 2 already, the game throws a jerry-rigged, clanking flying machine into my face piloted by an extremely cheeky green boy. He'll fire missiles at you one after the other, which seem to have a mild tracking property. Very naughty. When you face Copters in Chapter 3, you'll be very well endowed with Bang Bang. So I got into the habit of saving Fey crossbow shots for these guys in particular. 2 whacks seems to be the right amount. The weapon is quick, is able to pierce multiple targets like Dusk's crossbow, and for me boils down to being a magical railgun. Great for distant foes, and them's what likes to jerk around. If ammo is low, the Frostweaver is a great backup weapon. When killed, these noisy sods will target you, heading in for a kamikaze attack while giving a mad laugh. Take cover when this happens and make sure you don't step in the flaming wreckage left behind or you'll scorch your toes. What the hell would a smash and bash fantasy game be without the undead? Gotta love the undead, and Wizordum doesn't paint lightly with its zombie brush. From skellies to zombos to liches and banshees, the menu is fully stacked for a 3-course meal of unlife. As you rise from a tomb in level 4, Mourning Grounds, you know that things are about to get spooky. Hey look, there's Caleb. Nice. This graveyard is chock to the brim with shambling dead boys and all manner of creeps. Undead are the least of your worries though. They're slow-moving, fairly traditional-looking zombies. They'll try to close distance at a ponderous pace and then move with unzombie-like speed to give you a slap when you're within range. They're easy to kill, make the place seem lived in, metaphorically speaking, and actually show up in sizable numbers the deeper you get. Use your speed to your advantage and don't let these fetid buggers get within nibbling distance. And of course, the hidden undead variety will push up from the earth in a majestic display. I'm more than happy to be wrong, but I don't think I saw these weak skellies except when they were being summoned by liches, making me think that they don't exist as placed enemies, operating as spawned ones instead. But as I said, I'm more than happy to be wrong. Like all bony bros, they make a satisfying crumbling, crackling sound when they die. And they'll have at you with their maces, wishing to invite you to join the dark embrace of the afterlife. Snap them in two and keep moving. Swordsmen can take a fair amount of hits, and they can spook you out by occasionally leaping up from the floor, showing you that there are 2 varieties, normal and hidden. They'll slap you about with their swords, which can end in tears if you're trapped in a corner and you're being mobbed. And make sure you keep your eyes on their corpses when they die. If they present like this, they're proper dead. But if they look like this, they're gonna glow and leap back into the fight. Keep this in mind before you turn your back. You know, if you've got an undead faction, you've got to have a ranged variety as well as a melee one. Skeleton crossbowmen are often seen shrouded in the darkness of tombs, positioned nastily so as to give you a surprise perforation when you're searching for secrets. They go down easily enough with some well-placed shots, but the gold elite variety will have you planting your smouldering buttocks in a nearby puddle when they send out their spray of 3 flaming bolts. The fire damage will stick around and drain your HP, so dodge wisely. Elites are also understandably tougher, so circle around their position and lay on with heavy fire. As previously mentioned, these mouldering magicians will call up 2 grunts to bonk you on the bonce. He'll seemingly do this upon waking and will maintain a count of 2 bodyguards at all times. If you take one or both down, he'll get on the blower to bring the tally back up to 2. Pretty neat. Liches can take a serious beating and they'll chuck around blue balls of magic, adding injury to further injury. I often encountered liches in tight passages, and until I knew that he could only summon 2 grunts, I felt a pressing need to locate him, thinking that he'd keep summoning baddies until the area was flooded. Thank God this was not the case. They don't look undead, but I thought I'd bundle them in here with the other ghouls. Love the design of these lads, very cool robes, very cool mechanics. Cultists fire 2 pinkish projectiles that will track onto you. Depending on the fight space, they can be a right nuisance. They'll also teleport around in a flash of flames, zipping about the area, the cheeky sods. Thankfully, they're not tough, but they're more than capable of singeing your cheeks. I do love their dying frames. They look as if they're dabbing in the first instance, which is a lot more noticeable if you freeze them. Nice. I have zero doubts that these tubby bros are undead. For one thing, these guts is hanging out. Judging by their name, Gluttons have gorged themselves until their stomachs have burst. Nicely disgusting. They're pretty fast, they'll spit out a puff of green goo like Blood's bloated butchers, and they can do a zooming shoulder slam which can really leave you feeling bruised and shaken. Easily one of my favourite critters in the game. Dark, gross, yet still oozing with charming pixely cuteness. An episode 3 doozy, Banshees are super cool. They hover above the ground and they'll let out a wail, flying straight at you, taking a big piece out of your hide. Following this, they'll reappear some distance away, stopping you from immediately retaliating. I love their classic horror design, all flowing torn dress and pale face. Due to their disappearing trick and their decent health, they're a clever sneak attack beastie. And if you're facing off against some other goons, they can oh so easily put the frighteners on you. Phantasms are floaty fellas that put on a hovering dance, and to my mind wouldn't be out of place in Castlevania, which I feel is the case for most of these bad guys actually. They'll poop out red tracking orbs which will slowly zoom about. Due to the projectiles being slow, I feel that they have more of a tendency to hit you, as they can corner and reorient a lot better than if they were quick. Feed these spooks a bushel of blast though, and you can enjoy watching them fold onto the floor. No fantasy game is complete without sprightly spiders, tricky tentacles, and rodents of unusual size. Often encountered in nooks and crannies, these gross aminals and pesky putrid pests can easily take you out when you're ducking for cover. Yes, folks, we're in bat country. They possess a bit more health than I was prepared for and fell to their nibbles a few times in the graveyard of episode 1, teaching me a valuable lesson. When you see dark shapes flapping towards you out of the mist, make them the priority over a slow shambling zombie. Often seen in packs, bats are a right old bother, but I found a particularly satisfying method of deletion was to use the Frostweaver. It fires nice and quick and the chilly beast will smash on the ground when frozen like an Efreet in Hexen. These very acrobatic customers will leap around, often right into your face where they'll set upon removing it from the rest of your body. They can leap from one situated position to another, from a cloister to a bridge for example, which really surprised me. Considering that the game is made out of stacked blocks for middle, upper and lower levels which you can't navigate between save for using doors and ladders, I didn't think monsters would be able to either. Smooth move game. Very well played. Spiders in Wizordum come in 2 flavors, grey and red. Grey ones possess only a melee attack, quick bites, and the red ones are ranged, spitting out green gobs of goo like Gluttons. Both of these creeps like to leap around, closing distance or dodging your attacks. Due to their respective attacks, grey ones seem to like getting close and red ones like to leap away. Both are a bother, but keeping in line with the game's balancing, I never found them frustrating. Concentrated fire will have them oozing green gunk before too long. The forests of episode 2 are infested with these jerks. So when the woods beckon you, pull on your stompin' boots. My favourite monster in the game. A gloopy barrel of green gack with a mind of its own. They'll shuffle around sewers and other dank residences, sneaking up on you silently, which gave me a hell of a shock on my first playthrough. When they expire, Oozelings will erupt, sending out green globs in a cross configuration. In the tight passages of the sewers, you can collect a number of these before you learn your lesson. Pop them, get back, and let the goo pass you by. Keep these goopy barrels at arm's length or they'll erupt in your face. Game over. These aquatic appendages are stationary, so they're not too bad, but they have a tendency of popping up in just about any body of water, generally when you've hit a switch, existing as normal and hidden varieties. They're also a member of the green goo gang and they let loose their attack quite quickly, calling for some fancy footwork. Yet another evil expectorator, Hives will hang from ceilings, generally tucked into corners where they can sight you without you easily spotting them. Their nasty gobbage is able to aggressively track you, so you can't just sidestep and celebrate, or the blob will whack you in the back of the head. Definitely one of the more interesting ceiling turrets I've encountered in a game, and I've got a lot of time for their sprites. After getting a fat finger once after being stung by a bee, I steer clear from anything Hivey as they give me the willies. These hulking beasts will throw great frozen boulders at you, so you've really got to press the attack with your pyroblast. About 3 shots seems to take them down, same with the crossbow. Do be careful of their boulders. They have an area of effect when they hit the ground. And dang, I love the sound they make when they expire, this throaty, sad groan. Same again, but spicy. These guys seem to toss the same projectile as your pyroblast, so again, stay well away from them. Once more, 3 pyros or crossbow bolts will do the trick. These colossal dudes are often used as turrets to great effect, especially as you reach the pointy end of the game. These lads plus a horde of other critters, it really feels as if you're storming an evil castle. So cool. These entish mushroom men will try and ruin your fun when you run into them in episode 2. They've got a pretty tasty attack. They'll shoot out their tongues like a grappling hook to pull you close and give you a clobbering. I like to let them do this as it doesn't do any damage, and then leap back to blast them up close with something juicy like the Spellbreaker or a stream of fireballs. When they die, they've still got an ace up their sleeve. Their pulsating red mushroom top will throb for a second and then let out a spray of green goo balls. Best to duck behind a corner when this happens. I'm not entirely sure where these guys crop up actually. It's very possible I missed a secret level or 2 because I'm really bad at finding secrets. I feel like they'd turn up in the big boss fight, hence their name, but no, not as far as I remember. Anyway, they hover in midair and shoot out 4 red shots, one after the other. The gentlest of taps will make them deflate though, so no worries. You know what, I've got no memory of encountering this guy either. He's a nasty looking anglerfish who seems to phase through you, putting your frame rate through the ringer. Other than that, nothing else seems to happen. No attack, he doesn't take any damage. Looks cool though. Please let me know if you've seen them in game, I'd really like to know. With the amount of secrets in Wizordum, it would have been so easy for me to overlook some stuff. If you collect all the Piggletons in a map, small grey hog heads, you'll unlock a bonus level where you have to hunt down all the sweet little royal oinkers before the timer runs out. They'll explode in a purple puff, gifting you a wicked pile of 250 gold each. So, by judicious secret hunting, your pockets will soon be swollen with the magical clamour of clinking coinage. And damn it, they're so flippin' cute. He lives. He lives. In the Well of Wishes, this very hungry green menace awaits. Unable to fight back, you need to smoothly evade his advances, or with one quick gulp and a burst of blackness, you'll be feeding the fishes. Lots of treasure to collect in his level, as well as candies. A lovely homage to the buck-toothed beast from days of yore. As things start to get decidedly devilish towards the end of episode 3, yet more devious critters get added to the roster. These chubby little not very cherubic cherubs flap about, shooting out a spray of 3 spreading fireballs from their wicked-looking tridents. I encountered them in corners and up on gantries, dealing nasty hits of damage when I was otherwise occupied. Though they certainly aren't tough, the level of irritation they can engender is enough reason to take them out as soon as you can. Such a cool design. Old Booberella here is like a succubus sticky taped to a vampire, and she'll teleport about, disappearing with the image of a burning Bacardi bat. If she reappears up close, she'll give you the old 1-2 punch. Quite unladylike. And from a distance, she'll float above the ground where she casts out a red beam of light to give you the good suck, draining your health. I don't think this vampiric attack actually gives her any health. It's a little hard to tell with this game, but I like to imagine that it does. While stationary, trying to slurp you dry, she presents a nice target for your crossbow or staff of chaos. Let her have it, she won't go easy on you. Bloodweavers can take quite a bit of biffo before they give a desperate wail, collapsing to the floor. A wonderful late addition to the game, 2 severed thumbs up. When things turn from snow to flame in episode 3, areas start to sprout these grinning draconic buggers. It seems as though you have to hit them on the head, which admittedly is presented as a nice big target, as they don't flash to show damage taken if you pop them anywhere on their lengthy necks. They hock out 3 close-knit fireballs and generally aren't too bad. In fact, a few times I faced them when I was up on a walkway above lava and they just stood there, staring at me. Maybe they had a bit of bother targeting me for some reason. I didn't go easy on them though. Lovely bit of design. And it makes me think of that 3-headed dragon meme, which did take away some of their menace and made me chuckle instead. I recommend a double tap from the Fey crossbow or a flurry of magic glug-a-lug from the Staff of Chaos. Totally love the visuals when they die, as each segment evaporates with a satisfying pop. Massive, beefy applause for the design of these blokes. Definitely made me think of some sort of devilish djinn kept in bondage via the enchanted braces around their wrists. With each step they take, they shoot out alternating blasts of blue magic, which will seriously wrinkle your chemise. This constant deluge of projectiles makes circling them a little tricky depending on the area you're fighting in. Good thing I stumbled upon the perfect antidote to the problems they present. A single crossbow bolt, straight to the head. Upon dying, they explode in a great shart of flames, leaving their braces behind. Lovely touch. Also, Infernos can leap up and give a menacing chant, shooting out a pyroblast alt-fire projectile which will sap your health with its fiery tendrils. It's not just thems what can walk and talk that can present problems for you on your travels, no. Wizordum has a number of different hazards placed in levels that are a bit more colourful than simple ouch floors, although it does have them too. The first hazards you're likely to encounter are wall turrets, which send out a never-ending supply of fireballs. I just absolutely adore these things in games, especially games that are essentially light-hearted like Wizzo. There's also stone skulls which also spit fire. You can't kill these emitters, but you can kill the extra creepy haunted portraits of Baron Stormkeep. As soon as you slap them, the portrait goes all bloody and shuts its trap pretty damn quick. In certain natural environments, and indeed in underground passages, you'll need to patiently time the passage of spawned boulders, both normal and a snowball variety. Letting them run you down is not the best idea. Wall, floor, and ceiling spikes are a must-have in any fantasy mixture, so I'm glad they were given prominence in certain areas of the game. Simply wait them out or rush through, taking the damage if you're feeling a bit impatient. Saving the best for last. Cutters. Anyone who's played Rise of the Triad will go, woo yeah baby, that's nice. They move along on predictable routes, slowing your passage and making certain areas sticky and dangerous. They'll lacerate you like a sad little lettuce in the blink of an eye. I was not at all surprised to find out that there's a rot-themed area in episode 3's secret level. Well done, gang. Well done. First, boss time. Big Chungus here is the dude who's been reckoned Grimbrook and it surrounds with his fire magic. You'll face him in level 7, Ashes to Ashes, which now seems like an exceptionally easy fight, but when I initially fought him, my brain was still addled from the City of Ember's twisted passages and mind-boggling set pieces. For some reason, I had the idea to use the Fire Ring's alt fire on him. I don't know why. It produces a jet of flame and is super cool, but it was not a good idea. There's a chewy lore fragment in the City of Ember which adds some ominous flavor to his character. The city burns as if touched by dragon fire. Goblin Warlord is here, a monstrous figure wreathed in flames who commands it all. His magic tears through buildings, leaving only ash and screams behind. There is no fighting this, only escape. We'll see about that. Before facing down Mr. Bouncy and his squeaky mount, you'll get a whole stack of ammo and goodies, signaling that something's about to go down. Snag as much stuff as you can and enter the crumbling courtyard. Once you step towards the middle, you trigger his spawn and he leaps down at you, cracking the earth. The Warlord will main fire magic, but again, that doesn't seem to mean that he has an immunity to fire himself, taking respectable damage from the rings and the pyroblast. He'll lob fireballs, summon enemies, jump around, and rain fire down from the sky. My recommended course of action is to circle strafe around him, laying on constant damage from repeating weapons like the rings and Frostweaver while keeping your distance. When he pauses to rain fire, this is a great time to give him as many thick pyroblast fireballs as you can. When they're spent, return to your circle tactic and he'll explode in a wondrous shower of coins. His summoned support boys will also die along with him, which makes for a nice clean finish. A yawning portal opens up into the twisted forests of episode 2. Once again, we've got plenty of goodies doled out to us to prepare us for what's to come. A deadly battle on the stormy battlements. Due to being somewhat thick in certain situations, I wasn't sure how to damage the Baron initially. Then I let game logic take over. He's got a force field around him, clearly there must be some sort of power source. And there is. There's 4 pylons up on towers feeding magic to Mr. Stormkeep. He'll start summoning bolts of lightning signaled by red spots on the floor. He'll also call up a wheel of blue energy which will move clockwise around the arena. Stay between the spokes of the wheel and unleash a pyroblast shot to each of the pylons if you have enough. And then finish with the Frostweaver. Just keep moving. When they're down, signaled by a loud crashing sound, he'll move in with his Sith Lightning. Keep away, apply your B spell. For me as the cleric, this was Wizard's Wrath, which increases damage output, and hoe into him with the fast weapon of your choice. For me, this was the Fire Rings. In this first phase, he'll also call in Phantasms. I chose to ignore them and focus on him. His death will kill all the monsters anyway. Phase 2. He'll teleport the two of you to a more damaged arena. The worst enemy here is the bits of level and decoration that will snag you while you try and weave around. First up, he'll start spraying you with Frostweaver shards. When he takes a bit of damage, he'll vanish, returning with a bunch of mirror images of himself. The Spellbreaker magic pistol is really good here. 1 shot for each of the flying douches will suffice. The only thing they'll do is summon ice spikes on the floor, signaled again by red areas, so just avoid them. When they're all dead, he'll recommence shooting ice. I chose to reply with the Fire Rings and the Frostweaver. Rinse and repeat, and Robert's your father's brother. Bloody good boss. Loved the extra stage, although getting snagged on obstacles was a bit of a bother. Onwards and upwards, big boss time. Here he is, the Lord of Chaos. That design, what an absolute belter. His arena starts off with a smorgasbord of lesser critters, which increase in difficulty. Bag all the goodies lying around and make sensible use of your weapons. You'll know instinctively by now which ones to use for which monsters. I enjoyed running around the pillars, getting everyone bunched up so I could unleash a yummy whack from my big effin' spell. The Grimoire. Kills all enemies in your line of sight. Very cool. Once everyone's dusted, usually leaving the scaleworms to last as they're stationary, Big Chungus comes out to play. Man, he is impressive. He'll start off by summoning a tidal wave of lava. Hide behind the pillars or you'll get wrecked. Then I try to rummage very quickly in my inventory, applying a fire shield so I can safely circle around him, as there's lava everywhere. Kick off my Wizard's Wrath again, and let him have it with the Staff of Chaos. Its plasma gun style fast firing really helps to whittle him down. I'll often need to duck behind the pillars and circle around madly, tapping keys to apply more inventory items and checking ammo, but it's a hell of a rush. His circle of fire stops you from getting too close, and I don't think the fire shield protects against it, only against burning floors, so keep that in mind. Work your way through your weapons and judiciously ignore the summoned support troops. He'll kick off more lava waves and will start calling down meteors signaled by red spots on the floor. Just keep away. Scoop up any goodies you might have missed and anything dropped by the troops and keep at him. He'll shoot volleys of fireballs too, but again use the pillars for momentary cover and then re-engage. After what seems like no time at all, he'll fall. Letting out a great deluge of treasure and the trumpets sound, the music swells, you've done it. The chaos is no more. Bloody good job. And that's Wizordum's monsters. I really hope I haven't missed any. I found the game's included map editor immeasurably helpful in identifying and testing the monsters in small areas, as well as obviously using it to capture footage of the critters up close for this video. It's such a cool little editor, nice and simple and intuitive, and once you got your head around how the different layers work, you can make some wonderful stuff. Hell, I think I might even try my hand at a level sometime soon, if I ever allow myself some free time. Oh, something I don't want to forget, and though it's got nothing to do with the monsters, I think it bears mentioning. The music. How flippin' good is the music? It's very John Williams, Jeremy Soule, part Indiana Jones, part Oblivion. Highly stirring, and it gives the game such a polished quality. The devs could have easily gone for music more in line with the graphics, something Shovel Knight-y. Don't get me wrong, I love Shovel Knight's music. However, they didn't. Damn good tunes. Let me know your impressions of the game in the comments if you've played it. It's now out on consoles too, which is nice if that's your thing. It's probably the sort of game I would get on console because I sometimes need a break from the computer and just want to unwind with something not too hectic. And thankfully it's on PS4 because that's the only console I've got. Thanks for watching, thanks to Emberheart for making, thanks to Apogee for the free Steam key. I hope someone finds the code hidden in the video. I tried to not be too obtuse. May your next adventure be a magical one. Goodbye. And it makes me think of that as each segment evaporates with a satisfying pop. Portraits of Baron Helmkeep. Jesus. Time to give him as many thick pyrobast fire. I found the game's included map editor immeasurably helpful in the devs could have easily gone for music more in line with the fuck off. Probably adorable about goblins. About. The lowest of the verdant villains, Jesus Christ. The lowest of the verdant. And of course the hidden variety will push up from the earth in a majestic display. Hello. Yeah, I gave it a go last night and it turned out really well.